Have you ever had this feeling? You're scrolling on your phone, your thumb mindlessly stops on a photo of someone you used to know, checking in at a luxury resort on the Amalfi Coast, or flexing a brand new Porsche with that fresh leather smell. Meanwhile, you glance down at your own phone, right as it sends you a notification about your account balance after a slightly over-the-top weekend getaway, and you find yourself wondering, what am I doing wrong? Hi, everyone. I'm someone who has spent decades in the heart of New York's financial world, watching every rise and fall the markets can throw at us. But today, I'm not here to talk about cold numbers on a trading screen. I want to talk about a truth most people don't like to admit. We're living in an era of fake wealth. A close friend of mine, a well-known fund manager, once told me, in America, people aren't afraid of being poor. They're afraid of looking poor. That mindset is exactly what traps us in a never-ending rat race. You buy the latest iPhone because you're afraid of falling behind. You upgrade your car to prove your status. But have you noticed how the happiness fades faster than a glass of beer, losing its fizz the moment you touch those things? That's when you're burning your future just to warm your ego today. But listen carefully. This is why I'm making this video. There is another path, a quieter path, but one that leads straight to the summit. Would you believe me if I said that with just $5,000? Yes, just $5,000, roughly the price of a few luxury items you're thinking about buying. You could turn it into $1 million by the time you're 40. Sounds like some cheap internet pitch, right? I thought so too, until I dug deep into the latest Roth IRA regulations coming in 2026. This isn't magic, it's math. And as a market professional, I call it the ultimate weapon against poverty for your generation. Starting in 2026, U.S. regulations are opening a door we've never seen before. Contribution limits are increasing, potentially to over $10,000 per year. But what's the real addictive part? Tax-free growth. Imagine this. Every dollar of profit you earn from the stock market is 100% yours. The government doesn't get a single cent. In finance, that's the biggest advantage you can possibly have. Forget the fancy jargon for a moment. Think of it this way. Every dollar you put into a Roth IRA is like a tiny soldier working for you nonstop, 24/7, even while you sleep. When you invest in low-cost index funds like the S&P 500, you're betting on the growth of the greatest economy in the world. With a historical return of around 7%, that initial $5,000, combined with the discipline of investing $500 a month, what I call the tax for freedom, creates a classic compound interest explosion. So why do most people fail? Because we're slaves to instant gratification. I've met young professionals in Manhattan making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year who still live in constant anxiety because of lifestyle inflation. As their income goes up, they move into bigger apartments, buy pricier watches. They're running on a treadmill. The faster they run, the higher the costs, but they're still stuck in the same place. I want you to choose a different move. I want you to go for what I call the ultimate flex. The highest form of luxury isn't what you wear. It's the calm confidence of knowing that at 40, you have options. The option to work for passion, the option to take time off, the option to travel without checking prices. That is real wealth. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to live like a monk. I'm not saying you have to skip your morning coffee if it genuinely makes you happy. But I am saying this. Pay yourself first. Set up automation. Let the money leave your bank account and go straight into investments before you even see it. Before Amazon convinces you to buy something you'll forget about in 2 weeks. Science shows that the human brain isn't naturally wired to understand compound interest. We're drawn to what's right in front of us. But as someone who has reviewed thousands of portfolios, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. Your 20s and 30s are your most valuable asset. Time is the catalyst, and the Roth IRA is the container. So what will you choose? A shiny car that loses 20% of its value the moment it leaves the dealership? Or an account quietly marching toward a 7-figure balance while you're still young enough to enjoy it? In this video, I'll walk you through everything step by step, simple and practical, on how to fully take advantage of the new 2026 rules. We'll talk about fund selection, automation, and most importantly, how to build a millionaire mindset in a world overflowing with temptation. Don't wait until you're 40 to say, if only. Start now, because your freedom is worth more than any designer brand out there. I want you to think about the stock market not as a Las Vegas casino filled with flashing lights and cheering crowds, but as an old, well-established garden. You can't plant a tree in the morning and expect to harvest fruit by the afternoon. The biggest mistake I've seen young people in the US make is trying to outsmart the market. They chase meme stocks and garbage crypto coins, hoping for a life-changing win overnight. Trust me, that's the fastest way to end up right back at square one, empty-handed. So what would a professional like me do with that $5,000? The answer is three letters. ETFs, more specifically, index funds. Here's a truth Wall Street's active fund managers don't like to talk about. Over 80% of top professionals fail to beat the S&P 500 over the long term. The S&P 500 represents the 500 largest and most powerful companies in the United States. When you buy an index fund like VOO or SPY, you're owning a piece of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Tesla. You're betting on the progress of human innovation itself. Have you ever wondered why Warren Buffett instructed that 90% of the money he leaves to his wife should be invested in an S&P 500 index fund? Because he understands one core truth. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. You don't need to stay up late reading thick financial reports. You just let the greatest companies in the world work for you. I want to introduce a concept we call hidden fees. Be careful here. A fund that charges a 1% annual fee doesn't sound like much, but over 20 years, it can quietly eat away hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential gains. That's why I always recommend funds with ultra-low expense ratios, as close to zero as possible. In the US, we have options with fees as low as 0.03%. That's how you keep every possible dollar working for your future. But here's the most critical bottleneck in the entire plan: automation. A friend of mine once said, "Human willpower is the most easily depleted resource. If every month you have to sit down and debate whether to invest $500 into your Roth IRA or buy a new pair of shoes, you'll lose that battle sooner or later." Our brains are hardwired for instant gratification, so trick your brain. Set up an automatic transfer on payday. Treat that $500 like a mandatory freedom tax. When the money is invested before it ever hits your spending account, you naturally learn to live happily on what's left. It's a psychological release. You stop worrying about whether the market is green or red today because you're buying consistently, rain or shine. Now let's talk about that $1 million at age 40. Right now, it may feel as distant as a star in the sky. But compound interest has a unique trait. It's slow in the beginning and explosive at the end. In the first few years, your $5,000 may barely seem to move, and that's exactly when 90% of people quit. They say, "What's the point of investing? I don't feel any richer." But I want you to be patient. Don't dig up your tree every day just to check if the roots have grown. In year 15 or 20, you'll witness something that feels like a miracle. That's when your investment gains exceed your monthly contributions. That's the moment your money machine officially becomes self-sustaining. I call this the slow burn strategy. In a world of TikTok and 15-second videos, waiting 15 years sounds like torture. But think about it. Those 15 years are going to pass anyway. The real question is, when they're over, what will you have? A pile of outdated stuff or a key that unlocks your freedom? Understand this. Investing isn't about getting rich quick. Investing is about building self-respect. Every time you choose to fund your retirement account instead of wasting money, you're telling yourself, "My future matters more than short-term flash." So here's my challenge to you after this video ends. Don't just nod along and close the screen. Take 15 minutes. Open a Roth IRA if you don't already have one, and set up your first transfer. Whether it's $50 or $500 doesn't matter. What matters is that you've officially stepped into the game of truly wealthy people. Remember this: the richest person isn't the one who makes the most money, it's the one who owns the most time. We've covered the numbers, the new rules coming in 2026, and the strategies to take control of the financial game. But before we part ways in this video, I want to leave you with one final thought. Throughout my years working in the United States, I've met many people in their 50s and 60s. On the surface, they had everything: big houses, impressive titles. But when they sat across from me in my office, the one thing they said with deep regret was always the same. If only I had started just 10 years earlier. Time is the most equal asset God gives to all of us, whether you're starting with $5,000 or just $50. But time is also the most unforgiving, because it never turns back to wait for anyone. There's an old proverb I love: the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Don't wait until you have a high salary. Don't wait until the stock market looks stable. And absolutely don't wait until you've spent freely and only then think about saving. The truth is, we will never feel rich enough to start investing unless we make a conscious decision to become rich. I want you to picture yourself at 40. Maybe you're sitting on a beach somewhere, or maybe you're just in a small kitchen, making yourself a cup of tea, without worrying about waking up at 6 a.m. to fight traffic for a job you don't truly love, just to pay the bills. When you look at that seven-figure balance in your Roth IRA, you'll quietly thank the younger version of yourself today. Thank you for not buying the latest phone. Thank you for not chasing empty distractions. And thank you for being brave enough to lay the first brick on the path to freedom. Investing in your future is not a sacrifice. It's the kindest thing you can do for yourself. It's a promise that you deserve a life of clarity, choice, and control. If you found today's message helpful, help me spread it by hitting the like button or sharing it with a friend you want to grow wealthy with. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll continue exploring real-world financial thinking and practical strategies in the videos ahead. Remember this: you don't need to be a genius to become wealthy. You just need the right plan and the discipline to stick with it. The window of opportunity in 2026 is coming fast. Don't sit on the sidelines. I'll be walking with you on this journey toward financial freedom. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you at the top of freedom.